I'm going to bet on myself, and I'm going to take a risk that I might fail. I might fail badly. And I think the ego behind that is, but people think I'm so good at one thing. Why would I go prove them wrong by being bad at another thing? Right. But you can't grow, and you can't evolve, and you can't step into the next thing unless you're willing to let go of the story of I've made it, I'm successful, I'm admired. I'm not going to risk falling off that pedestal, by wanting to get to the next thing. You just can't do it unless you're willing to take that risk.
Yeah. And that point that you made about like a level of comfort, I mean, that's applicable to just anybody in business. We're in our role. We think that we're doing great here. And just for people outside of Hollywood, being an actor, producer, director, and writer, they may sound like, oh, they all go together, but they're as different as being in accounting and marketing and human resources, Yeah. But if human resources is your goal and you're an accountant, yeah, what's the worst thing that can happen? I mean, you try it. You could even fail. And like many innovators, I think everyone at this conference can identify, most innovators will tell you that they learn more from their failures than successes. I mean, what's the worst that can happen, right?
Absolutely. And I think that, to link this back to just my struggle of my cultural identity, I grew up always being so interested in the world. When I was 5, I wanted to be an actress, but I also wanted to be a human rights lawyer, and I wanted to be a veterinarian. That one really,
of course.
But who didn't want to be a veterinarian?
Right, of course.
And I always thought that I had to choose, that I either had to be an entertainer or I had to be like someone engaged in the world. And it was always seemed like it was at odds. And I ended up going to university, studying international relations, even as my career as an actress was taking off. And people couldn't understand why. Like, oh, is that your backup? It's like, no, that's not my backup. That's just a part of me that is really interesting to me. And I don't want to have to choose. And I don't want to have to choose if I'm American or Latina. I'm both. And also at the same time, neither. I'm an actress and I'm an engaged citizen in the world. And I think that applies in the workplace too. If I had to say I'm never going to act again, so I'm going to start my career as a director, that's just unnecessary. It's like we can expand our stories about ourselves and our visions about ourselves if we're willing to let go of needing it to make sense to everybody else.